I was at my grandfather's funeral. This was about 6-7 years ago, and there was a moment in the funeral where, and they don't always do this at funerals, but the pastor got up and he said, "Does anyone have any final words about Howard?" And the man next to me stood up and just blurted out in between sobs, "Howard was my best friend." And I'm a little guilty. I feel a little ashamed to say this. I looked over at him and I thought, "Well, you're not my grandfather's best friend," because that's like my Uncle Don. But then I thought, you know what? I'm sure my grandfather was his best friend. There's like 150 people in the room, and my grandfather was probably the best friend of at least half the people in the room. And then other people started going around saying, "Howard saved my marriage. Howard prayed for me. Howard gave me money when I had nothing." And I remember this with my grandfather growing up, as he would volunteer at church. At once a week he would go, and he would go to visit someone in the hospital, and he would put his hand on their hand and he would pray for them. He would bring them their favorite meal. And so I got to go with him just that growing up. And that was one of the most just profound and impactful things I'd ever experienced anybody doing. And so my grandfather was a prayer warrior growing up. I mean, he was always, every moment he got, he was putting his hand on somebody's shoulder and he was praying for them and speaking life into them. And my grandfather was a World War II Navy veteran. He lived to be 96 years old.
Wow.
He was just an amazing man. But I had this epiphany while I was at his funeral. I thought, this is the sort of funeral that I want to have. Like I realized that maybe at the time I was thinking a little bit more about accomplishing things, on whether it be writing a book or having a certain amount of podcast listeners or whatever it might be. And I thought, those things are not success. This is a successful life. And then it made me think about, what does the Bible teach about success? And nowhere in the Bible does it say you need to accomplish this for you to be successful. It says you need to become like Christ. And so, yeah, we talked about that having a to-do list. That's what most people are doing is, okay, I need to check off, do this errand, do this. But if I go and do the errand or call the customer service line and I'm, berate the customer service representative, I might have accomplished what I was trying to accomplish, but did I do it with a Christ-like manner? And no, I didn't. So people need to be just as conscious, or really much more conscious of, who am I becoming? So what I do is I write down, these are the character qualities I need to grow in. So I'm going to be extremely generous. Well, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to pay for people when I go out. I'm going to make sure I'm tithing at least 10% and giving above and beyond that. And so writing down, what are the 3 character qualities you need to grow in the most, and then practically applying those. That's something I've personally done that's really, I think, helped me grow as a person.